Hey Sages, and welcome to your October 2017 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And I am super happy to see what's coming forward for you guys. It's starting to feel just a little bit lighter. There's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot to accomplish. But already with Saturn starting to move, things are getting better. Although it is interesting to see how during these types of times, when you know that things are kind of starting to look up, you start to realize that things have been harder than you realized. You start to realize that you are a bit of a different person. Some transitions or some changes that were taking place in your life you were kind of unaware of at the time, but now that you have less control over them, it feels perhaps like there's not much stopping the changes or much preventing the changes. You've definitely established a momentum and you're sort of compelled to carry out that momentum during October. People are seeing you in a much better light during this time though. I feel that anything that within Sagittarius that was making people uncomfortable or pulling in a type of experience where people didn't treat you too well, that seems to be fading away as you start to become more popular and more liked in general by people. And Sagittarius is one of the most popular signs of the zodiac. Usually people who are like popular in high school or something are a fire sign. It very often can be. And also you are very open-minded and you tend to communicate yourself in a very optimistic way. So that makes you generally quite liked by other people. However, with the Saturn transit through your sign, that kind of detracted from that a little bit. So you should be kind of starting to get back into your routine of communication and people having more positive ideals towards you. So that's wonderful to see. This is a month where you can make a lot more money. You have a lot of really nice pentacle cards in your spread. So if you've been wanting to take any risks with your business or wanting to really up your game, now is a great time to do it in October. I feel that for those of you who try new things, you will have more success than you realized. It will also be a good time to hold back a little bit on personal expenses that are emotional, because you might start to make more money during this time and you might start to be able to, have more expenditures that are not so necessary. But Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, sometimes you can go overboard if you get into that mind frame at all. So you can spend a little bit too much this month if you're not careful. But I think that you get it under control, and it seems like you're making enough to warrant most of it. So this will also be a month where you're getting back into touch with your confidence. You become more confident in general, because I really think that people are going to start playing you up. You could just kind of start to mingle in with the right people or networking really well. You have 6 of Wands in your reading, as it's come up for a lot of signs this month. You, Scorpio, and Virgo, I believe, had it. So those signs, including you, are all getting much more confidence. Starting to get more respect as well, and you got to kind of be careful with I call it the R word, the respect, not ego respect, but actual earned through integrity type of work respect. You can start to get here, although there can be a tendency also as well for this type of energy for people to not actually realize what's going on with you. You can kind of look the part during this time, so people may not realize that you're actually going through a very difficult transition or that you've had some kind of heartbreak to come into your life. You may look very unconcerned with things in general. So do be aware of that and think to yourself if you actually want to deceive people in that way, because Sagittarius is one of those signs where they tend to look happy or tend to look fulfilled even when they're not. So do take time to reflect on that and think, like, who am I doing that with? Is it the right people? Should I let more people in on what I've actually been going through? It does feel like a good month where you can confide in other people and where other people can confide in you as well. Any other intuitive messages I'm feeling for Sagittarius for October? You have to be careful to not try too hard about your appearance or your health. I feel that I get kind of an energy of like fad diets or overtraining with 8 of Wands reverse. Scorpio had this as well, but for you guys, I'm feeling more strongly that with your nature and your tendency to sometimes overdo things or to do everything in a really grand way, like any exercise regimens or dieting habits that you take on can be overdone a little bit right now. Also, like skincare regimens or anything that has to do with your appearance. Like you might be using too many ingredients or something that's really random, but that can be applied to anything in your life. Like you might be trying to treat things too strongly, like more deeply. Like if you're having health problems, it could actually be good to pull back a little bit from medications, or because it's the energy of like using too many things that are all good at the end of the day and can all do what you want them to do, but by using them all together it creates a little bit more harm than good. So do keep that in mind as a general energy for you this month. And I want to go ahead and get into the week to week to see more clearly what's going on with you guys. In the first week, you guys have Six of Wands rooted down by Page of Wands reversed. Wonderful week for you guys. I really think that you are coming into your element here. Page of Wands being reversed, you might be feeling a little bit negated. Page of Wands is definitely a very Saggy type of card. Both of those cards are Sagittarian to me. So you might be feeling like you can't quite create the things that you want to create during this time. You might not be feeling as adaptable as you would like to be. You might also be feeling just a little bit burned out, but it's not like it used to be. It's not the same type of burnout you've had like since like March and into the summer. It's a little bit different now. It's more of a maybe not being able to be as spontaneous as you wanted to be. But having Six of Wands upright being the way that comes out, it's like you transmute this into something much more great and much more grand. You're very stylish during this week. You're very liked by people in general. So it's wonderful to see for your energy. Anything else for the first week? It's okay to be confident. It is okay. Like sometimes I think your confidence has felt a little bit inappropriate in the past, but now it's okay to be confident. So let that be known for you for the first week of October. In the second week, you guys have Queen of Wands rooted down by Eight of Wands reversed. So a lot of you are stepping back into your more eccentric ways during this time. You might be changing your appearance, or again, I could just get that as an overwhelming thing for you. It's like you're losing weight, you're changing the way that you dress, you're kind of getting back to what you used to be, because I think that Sages all over the board have kind of become a bit less out there, like maybe dressing in a much more plain way, sort of letting their hair go natural or not wearing makeup, or just, and again, you have to interpret these as like general things. Like you could also interpret that as, choosing to be more or less present in your career, like just doing your job, doing the bare minimum, not feeling like you have to be exuberant in your expression. I feel like you become exuberant in your expression again in the second week, and it feels pretty permanent to me. And you start to realize that you're sort of getting back into your element, which sort of triggers a bit of an emotional transitional period of time that we see in the latter half of October. But just as I was saying in the first week, be careful about trying to over-treat things during this time, because you might sort of go into a mode where it's like, I've let my appearance go, now I need to get my hair done, I need to get facials, I need to get massages, I need to get a personal trainer, I need to do all these things, and it's like you don't need it all, but a little bit of attention is going to be wonderful. It's like less is more, and that's hard for Sagittarius because you're like a more is more type of sign. Like less is more, although more like a medium amount is more. You can do a bit more than minimal, but you just don't need to go too overboard. You can also be involved with other feminine fire energies during this time, people who maybe remind you of a past version of yourself, and it will be good to understand like what you have to learn by being surrounded by these types of people. There has been a weird thing with Sag that I've actually just realized right as I'm doing this reading, where it's like you see a lot of people that remind you of who you were, and you automatically don't really like them that much. There's sort of like a jealousy, but it's not jealousy, it's not envy, it's not that. Because it's not that you want to be them, it's not that you want to be who you used to be, and it's not necessarily that you disliked who you were, but what is it? That's what I'm trying to understand, because this is something that I've noticed in Sagittarius. If it's not jealousy, and it's not that you disliked who you were, why do you have weird feelings about people who remind you of who you once were? Does it take away your independence? Does it take away your specialness? I'm trying to understand and wrap my head around it, and I think that maybe it's something that I'm not really needing to know right now, but it'll be good for you guys to reflect, like, why? Like, what is putting me off about people who remind me of who I once was? And getting to the bottom of that will really help you to form your new identity, which is coming this month for sure. In the third week, you guys have Nine of Pentacles reversed or down by Six of Swords, so that's kind of a little bit more of a somber type of energy. You are realizing that money and resources and luxuries are not going to necessarily fix all the things that have been introduced into your life. You are dressing very luxuriously or expressing yourself in a very luxurious way. So there's something about that you kind of get stuck in, because Saturn is still there in Sag. Like, it's not done yet. So anything that's really huge, really exuberant will kind of still remind you of something that's not quite put together, or not quite kosher for your energy. So I feel that through sort of getting back in touch with who you used to be and, really pushing your expression out, that you do kind of have an emotional transition with Six of Swords. You realize who you're connected to in other ways. You realize who encourages you to express yourself in the way that you do. And I think that you ultimately decide if that's who you want to be at the end of the day. There are really big changes, I feel, in the third week for you. Also, you can move during this time. So many signs are having this energy come forward. I think a lot of people are changing location or changing their energy. During this time, you can feel a bit conflicted about moving. It can be like a move where you're like, well, I'm happy where I'm at, but I'm not, and I'm not sure if I really like where I'm going type of energy. And the goal is to find something within yourself that doesn't really rely on your surroundings. At the same time, though, your surroundings are very important in what is happening in your energy. So do think about like where you're going, like where you find yourself. Do you find yourself where you didn't expect to be? All of that is pretty important on your spiritual journey right now. And in the fourth week, you guys have that 10 of Pentacles rooted down by 3 of Swords. So, that's pretty straightforward to me. What you're doing to make money, what you're doing to make a living, your job is not giving you the best headspace. A lot of you are going into your job with like not wanting to be there, very much dreading your next sort of output of energy relating to the way that you make money. But at the same time, being paid well, potentially, like you think that because you're being paid more or making more money maybe than you ever have before, that you just have to continue it, because you start to see how your life could change, and you start to see like all of these things that could be introduced if you just keep kind of sacrificing yourself. You can apply this energy, Sag, that you've done to make the living that you do now to whatever part of your life that you wish to do it to. If you've found the energetic formula once, you will find it again. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can just like quit and just do whatever you want to do, because that introduces a new kind of energy. In fact, you might just kind of be doing what you're doing until Saturn is out of Sag. So until December, you might just kind of not be loving what you're doing. But I also feel that you get a lot of rewards from it. It could be kind of like a little bit of a depressing thing. A lot of you might be involved with like people who've been through difficult circumstances. Like I feel like psychologists or like addiction counselors or people who respond, or like emergency worker people who respond to tragedies. I sense that a lot of you might be like involved with that type of thing, and it's hard for Sagittarius, and it's interesting to see how many of you have gotten involved in something that relates to dealing with other people's difficulties while Saturn has been in your sign. So that's not really a Saggy type of thing. You're usually dealing with something that's like artistic or relating to traveling or relating to like people doing well, like investments, or something that has to do with like owning travel, something relating to travel, or being around, being in different places is usually where Sag does best. Now, could be anything in your chart that indicates other things as well, but just Sagittarius in general likes mobility and likes a lot of money, though, too, because Sagittarius is a money sign. It pulls in more. It pulls in a lot for generally less work than most people have to do, although, again, that very much depends on your chart. But this month, it feels like you are sort of double guessing what you have introduced to make money in your life, and you want a change. And I would plan for January. Like, I would plan, like, what do you want to do? Start making a plan and start putting things together for January, because if you try to do it right now, right when Saturn is leaving your sign, things can get caught up in a weird way here. Like, you can find weird relationships. It's not that you can't be successful. It's less about money than it is about the energetic patterns that start to form during this time. So you can do better to stick things out and to maintain right now and make a plan versus just jumping out. Although if you've already done it, if you've already quit and like now you're worried because that's what I'm saying, that's just how it is. That's just what happens. I don't think that you'll have that difficult of an experience, depending, but there was definitely a reason, and you had to, because like what I'm saying is you'll just have to probably have a lot of weird relationships or a lot of different experiences that give an opposite reaction to the sudden halt in the work life, which is fine and can give you a lot of learning. So Your central theme, Sag, is Four of Pentacles. You are conserving more, which again, that's just this polarized energy for you with Saturn still being there. Despite having more, despite spending more, you're also saving more, and that relates to your energy as well. Despite saving more energy, you're also putting out more energy. You're initiating a lot of things with people, it feels to me, but by doing that, you're holding back in a way too. It's not a good month to hold grudges. It's not a good month to hold things within, relating to what people need to hear or what you want to tell people. So do be outward with your expression and do be outward with your intentions, because hiding things and keeping secrets doesn't land you in a very good territory in like December again. So be confident, be eccentric, be thinking about what you want in the future, but be prepared to stick with it and find endurance and build your endurance. Because that's what it's all about with Saturn and Sag, with continuing things and sticking to things. It's about building more endurance for yourself and about teaching yourself to maintain things that you've started. So it's a much better month, I feel, than you guys have had in a long time. So there's a lot of blessings. There's a lot of really nice abundances to find here, and I'm looking forward to hearing what comes of that. And if this reading was helpful for you guys, I really hope you'll get the chance to check out my new Patreon page. The link should be popping up in the center of your screen right now. Through Patreon, you can see my readings with no ads and also have early access to them. I also do monthly drawings for free readings and have lots of fun discussions. So if you are interested, you can be sure and check it out. If you guys would like to book a private reading with me, that link is in the description box. And I hope that you'll get the chance to subscribe to my YouTube channel here now if you want to keep track of the reading process and what all I am putting out. I hope you guys have an amazing October, and I will be seeing you in November. Bye.